and virtual interviews will begin around the league, I believe, tomorrow. Reportedly, the Jaguars have an interview set up with Ben Johnson coming up on Saturday. They have an interview with Aaron Glen, the defensive coordinator in Detroit, and I'm going to talk more about him in a moment. Apparently, Robert Saleh, the former New York Jets head coach, next Tuesday is what's reported. So the interview process in this head coaching search will begin, at least most of them virtually. Then there'll be some in-person interviews. Then there'll be a second round. And then finally, I would guesstimate 3 weeks from now, end of January, beginning of February, is probably the timeline you're looking at to figure out who the next head coach is going to be for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are absolutely loaded tonight. John Shipley, Jaguars on SI. He joins us in about 15 minutes or so. I think John has been very, very good in the last couple of days. He's putting out a lot of content, Jaguars on SI. He's gotten a lot of really good scoops, really good sources. John's done a good job. And I'm going to have him on to talk about everything that's going on with the Jaguars. So John Shipley, Jaguars on SI, 15 minutes away. And at the top of the 9 o'clock hour, as I told Baloo there in the 2-minute drill, Sam Phelan is going to join me. A to Z Sports.com. Sam is based in Nashville. So we'll talk not only about the Jaguar coaching search, but about former Florida Gator Ran Carthon, who just got fired yesterday as general manager of the Tennessee Titans. And if you think that name sounds familiar for you reality TV fans, yeah, that was the Sam that was just on Survivor a couple of weeks ago and actually made it all the way to the finale. So we'll talk a little outwit, outplay, outlast with Survivor 47 contestant Sam Phelan. But he's back to his day job as a sports reporter for A to Z Sports.com, and we'll talk Jaguars and more with him. So we're absolutely loaded. We're glad you're with us on a Wednesday. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Interesting, the transparency for the Jacksonville Jaguars. In fact, Denmark, we haven't done this in a while, but a little breaking news here on a Wednesday.
This just in on Hacker After Dark.
Exactly. The Jaguars have been very forthcoming with information. In fact, they released that list of, 8 guys yesterday that they've requested to interview. Well, apparently there is a 9th. Literally moments ago from the official Jacksonville Jaguar Twitter account, X account, the Jaguars have requested an interview with Brian Flores for their head coaching position. Of course, Brian Flores, former head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Brian Flores, who has done a terrific job with the Minnesota Vikings defense. So add Brian Flores to the list. I guess that's now 9 guys that the Jaguars have put in requests to interview. One of those guys is Ben Johnson. And reportedly, Ben Johnson has agreed to the interview. There was a lot of talk that because Trent Baalke is still here, that Ben Johnson wouldn't even want to interview with the Jaguars. Well, apparently that's not the case. Ben Johnson has agreed to an interview. I was thinking about this earlier today, talking to a couple of people in Detroit. Ben Johnson's obviously never been a head coach in the National Football League. I'm not breaking any news there. Ben Johnson's obviously in very, very high demand. Pretty much every team with an opening wants to talk to Ben Johnson, including, obviously, right here in Jacksonville. And if I had to guess, I'd say Jaguar fans, if you had to vote A, B, and C, Ben Johnson is at the top of most, not all, but most of your lists. And if the Jaguars land Ben Johnson, that would be phenomenal. I mean, how could you be upset with that? But Ben Johnson's put into a very tough spot right now because he is the surefire, can't-miss candidate, the offensive genius. Everybody wants him. He can make his own demands. It's Ben Johnson's world, and we're all just living in it. How can you live up to that? That's a lot of pressure on what is Ben Johnson, 38, 39 years old, never been a head coach in the NFL. Wherever he goes, that's a lot of pressure, man. A lot to live up to those expectations. And the thought is that Ben Johnson may want to bring his own personnel guy. Now, that hasn't been made public necessarily. That's just the rumor. But that's why people here in Jacksonville believe Trent Baalke being here would affect Ben Johnson's wanting the job. Not maybe necessarily denying them the interview, which he obviously did, and he's going to interview here, but that might be a deal breaker when it comes to Trent Baalke being here. And if that is a deal breaker, very well. But Ben Johnson, again, owners in the NFL are a tight-knit community, man. There's only 32 of them, right? Owners talk. And if Ben Johnson comes in here to his interview and starts laying out demands to Shad Khan about, I don't want this guy, I want my own guy, I want this, I want that, yada, 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 I just don't think that would necessarily be a good look for Ben Johnson. Now, if you're Bill Belichick, or if you're Andy Reid, or if you're Pete Carroll, or maybe even a Mike Vrabel, and you have a list of demands, well, okay, that's a little different, right? And again, I don't know if Ben Johnson would come in here or to Chicago or New England or wherever with a list of demands, but there is a common thought out there that he will. And I just don't know if that's the case because, again, I don't know if that would be the greatest look for a guy who's only been a coordinator for a handful of years and who has never been a head coach in the NFL. I think if you had to pin me down, Ben Johnson and Liam Cohen of Tampa is kind of where I'm looking, personally, although there's a really interesting rumor coming out of Tampa that the Buccaneers, or at least their fans, their media that cover the team, are so desperate to keep Liam Cohen that there is a thought down there and a rumor spreading that if Todd Bowles doesn't beat Washington in the playoffs this week, maybe the Buccaneers consider firing Bowles to name Cohen their head coach. Again, it is rumor season, but that was an interesting one when I heard that earlier. But I still think, ultimately, me personally, I'm still on the Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen train. But I'll tell you where I'm starting to at least look. I'm starting to turn and notice somebody. And that somebody's Aaron Glen. Aaron Glen, to me, reeks of a guy that's going to be successful as an NFL head coach. His demeanor, his confidence, the way he engages with players, what other people say about him from a league-wide perspective. Did you hear Dan Campbell earlier this week just raving about Aaron Glen? And that's a common thought. Dan Campbell's not the only guy. Whenever you bring up Aaron Glen to former players to cover the league, there's a lot of high praise there. Aaron Glen, of course, a former Jacksonville Jaguar, right? We spent a year here, 07 maybe. What if Aaron Glen comes to Jacksonville and brings one or two of those Detroit Lions offensive coaches with him, whether it is Mark Brunell or whomever? Look, I don't know the coaching staff of Detroit from Adam, but Tanner Engstrand, all right? Who's Tanner Engstrand, you say? Well, that is the passing game coordinator for the Detroit Lions. That is a guy that has been in the room with Ben Johnson for the last 3 years as the passing game coordinator. We say, Hacker, Tanner Engstrand, never heard of him. Oh, yeah? Had you heard of Ben Johnson prior to 2021? Let me answer that for you. That would be a no. All I'm saying is Ben Johnson isn't necessarily the flavor of the month, but is Ben Johnson a guy that can stand in front of that Jaguar room, command the room, change the quote-unquote culture here in Jacksonville that we all talk about, have the respect of the players, like a Dan Campbell in Detroit? I think Aaron Glen definitely could do that. And if you're concerned about him being a defensive guy, fair enough. Dan Quinn was a defensive guy when he got the Washington job. What did he do? He went out and hired Cliff Kingsbury. D'Amico Ryans, a defensive guy in Houston. What did he do? He went out and hired Bobby Slowick. By the way, who was Bobby Slowick before the last 2 years? Exactly. Guys don't become good until they're given the opportunity to become good. And again, I don't know that Lions coaching staff from Adam, but I would assume the guys underneath Ben Johnson, like the passing game coordinator, maybe the running game coordinator, if you tell me the Jaguars get Aaron Glen and get one or two of those Lions coaches to come here and run the offense that have been with Ben Johnson, I would be open to listening to that. And again, I threw out the name Tanner Ingstrid. Who's Tanner Ingstrid? Oh, he's the passing game coordinator in Detroit. Hacker. That's crazy. I don't want him. I want Ben Johnson. Yeah? Did you want Ben Johnson in 2022? Of course not. Because Ben Johnson did not become Ben Johnson until he was allowed to become Ben Johnson. Bring me a guy like Aaron Glenn. Bring me an up-and-coming offensive mind that hasn't been given an opportunity. I am open to that. Definitely more open to that than maybe I was 48 hours ago. It's the roller coaster of the NFL Jaguar head coaching search, and I'm just giving you something else to think about. Let's give you somebody else that we're going to talk to. John Shipley, Jaguars on SI. He has done a terrific job all week. John does a great job always, but I think he's been really good this week, covering this from every angle, talking to sources. He's got some really interesting nuggets he's going to share with you. John Shipley, Jaguars on SI, joins me next on a Wednesday evening in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
I did not see this one coming.
Radio play-by-play is like stepping in a theater in your mind.
As good as it gets.
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
Hacker here, and for the first time in nearly 20 years, I finally get to have a different resolution. Like most of you, mine was always to lose weight. I'd try something for a few weeks, maybe lose a pound or two, and then give up. Well, I tried. Starting the new year with Awaken 180 isn't a try. It's a sure thing. And why will you stick with it? Because instead of a pound or two, you'll see results right out of the gate. We all need motivation. After my first 3 weeks with Awaken 180, I was already down 30 pounds. Granted, I had a lot of weight to lose, but look at Dempsey. Look at Matt Hayes. Those guys had results out of the gate too. Dempsey dropped 9 pounds his first week. Matt dropped 12 pounds. Regardless of the weight you need to drop, seeing those fast results will motivate you to reach your goal. Guys, girls, losing weight regardless of how many times you've tried is possible with Awaken 180. Make the sure bet and make 2025 the last time losing weight is your New Year's resolution. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
It's New Year's resolution time, so why not skip the guilt and do something you'll actually stick to, like fixing that leaky faucet, unclogging that drain, or getting your AC ready for the summer.
DuckDuckRooter is here to help you keep this resolution, investing in your home.
Start the year off right with DuckDuckRooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Call us today at 904-862-6769, because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WEALTH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Good teachers and coaches get the most out of their Scholar Athletes. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
And the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234.
Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
Ammon, you're always talking about how clean air is healthy air. I've had this cold for weeks. Can cleaning my air ducts actually help?
Well, Dad, I'm not a doctor, and let's be honest, you probably caught that cold from one of your grandkids. But I can tell you this, the cleaner your air, the better you'll feel.
Makes sense, but what do air ducts have to do with it?
Your ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're full of dust, allergens, and who knows what else, all that junk gets blown into the air you breathe, especially now that the heat's running. And the EPA says improving indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So you're telling me my vents are working harder than my immune system?
Exactly. That's why Zero Res is here. We're NADCA certified, and our truck mount system is the most powerful in the industry. Right now, we're even offering $100 off your total for January.
All right, sign me up. If it makes me feel better and keeps your mom off my back, I'm all in.
Good call, Dad.
Zero Res.
Spelled border backwards. It's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When mice and rats show up in your home or business, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast, before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents and will keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a rodent problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online just like I did. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. Are you tired of wrestling with your old shower curtain? Then say goodbye to the curtain chaos and hello to a new frameless shower enclosure. Wago Glass is clear, classy, and won't stick to you like a toddler at bedtime. Plus, it makes your bathroom look bigger and brighter. Upgrade your shower experience and step into style. Call me at Baker Glass and get ready to love your new glass shower enclosure. Baker Glass, no one treats you better.
Kenny Thompson here for Tyson Sound and Security. Transform your home into the ultimate entertainment hub. Whether you're hosting the big game inside or out on the patio, Tyson's top-tier surround sound systems will make you feel like you're at the stadium. Enjoy crystal clear sound and breathtaking visuals, all seamlessly installed by Tyson's experts. Get ready for game day and every day after. Visit our new showroom on US 17, call 762-1000, or go to TysonSoundSecurity.com. Tyson, your home theater and security pros.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Obviously, a ton of Jacksonville Jaguar news. Doug Peterson out. Trent Baalke, for now, is still the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The head coaching search is underway. Virtual interviews can begin later this week. There is a lot to get into. And with that, my friend John Shipley, you catch his terrific work with Jaguars on SI. And John's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. John, hope you had a happy holidays and a happy new year, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, my friend. How you doing?
John, we're good. Appreciate you joining us in what is a very busy week for everybody. And look, it's been a couple of days. We've kind of taken a deep breath. We've digested what the Jaguars did. Just a broad overview from you as we start here. Doug Peterson gone. Trent Baalke remains. John, your thoughts?
No, yeah, I know the obvious feeling, locally and nationally is a general sense of shock that Trent Baalke is returning. Is returning for will be his fifth season. Obviously worked with Doug Peterson for 3 years. I can honestly say, while I assumed, and my personal guess was that Shad Khan would clean house and start off with a clean slate, I was working on the assumption that, one, he would hold Baalke accountable for their record this season, and two, he would recognize that in an ideal situation, you're bringing a coach and a GM in at the same time. But I can earnestly say that there was much more momentum for Doug Peterson to be fired around the building than there was for Trent Baalke. It really just seemed like it was the natural guess for people to think of things to do, but it didn't seem like there was a ton of building momentum throughout the last several weeks that Baalke's job was in danger. I've reported on Jaguars on SI that Baalke, entering the final weeks of the season, had not been informed about his future, whether he was coming back or not, and had instead been operating as if he would be the general manager moving forward, because at the time that was his reality. And of course now that's the direction the Jaguars gone. I also said on Jaguars on SI that the morning before Doug's firing got announced and Trent got retained, that big reason why Baalke has looked so favorably inside the building is, simply put, Shad Khan thinks he's been an effective drafter. He thinks he's gotten good value in terms of contracts, and he thinks that he's gotten good value in trades, both veteran trades and in draft trades. And Khan essentially said all of this in his press conference. He says that he believes essentially they've drafted well. They've replaced free agents like Calvin Ridley and Jawan Taylor and replaced them with good, cheap, young, ascending players. He thinks their salary cap's in a good space. Simply put, Shad Khan thinks Trent Baalke has done a good job, and nobody else's opinion matters other than Shad Khan when it comes to that decision. He obviously has heard and has been told all the wide-ranging opinions on Trent Baalke, but his opinion on Baalke is his opinion, and it's obviously a different one than most people share.
John Shipley, Jaguars on SI. Yeah, John, to your credit, you've had some really juicy tidbits on Jaguars on SI in the last couple of days, and I want to ask you about some of those in a moment. Quickly, Doug Peterson actually did get fired on Monday. I know that's kind of an afterthought now with the Trent Baalke stuff, but, you cover the team as close as anybody, John. Why do you think it did not work out for Doug Peterson here in Jacksonville?
I think the biggest thing is, simply put, that, Doug Peterson never took the offense into his full control and took it to where it needed to go. Obviously, in 2022, things, worked great. He helped bring them from the NFL's worst offensive scheme, worst offensive talent, to a very respectable level, and Trevor Lawrence is playing great at the end of the season. But after that season, there was a lot of concern internally in both 2023 and entering this past season on kind of the echo chamber that was the Jaguars offense. When Jim Bob Cooter left as the passing game coordinator, become the offensive coordinator in Indianapolis, I've reported this a few times that a lot of people in the building saw that as a massive loss, because he was somebody who, he wasn't tied to the hip with Peterson like Press Taylor, and he was able to present new ideas and different things to Doug Peterson to help the offense. After he left, I'm not saying Jim Bob Cooter leaving is the sole reason why Doug Peterson failed, but after Jim Bob Cooter left, there wasn't really another voice inside the Jaguars offensive room to innovate, push new boundaries, etc. The offense got stale, and Peterson stayed loyal to Press Taylor, something that many people in the building question. But obviously, Shad Khan, I personally believe one of his best traits as an owner is he doesn't meddle, and he lets his coaches, do their job. So he empowered Doug Peterson, and he let him decide his own fate. he made it clear he wanted Peterson to call plays, even to the media. But Peterson stood loyal to Taylor. He thought that the offense was going in the right direction, and simply put, it never did. And add that with the seemingly misstep to fire Mike Caldwell in replacement of Ryan Nielsen, and you have the Jaguars' disaster season and a team that, simply put, did not look very well coached over the last year and a half.
Yeah, amazing. Doug Peterson lost 18 of his final 23 games as the Jaguar head coach. John Shipley, Jaguars on SI. All right, let's get to the future. And you had, in one of your stories there on Jaguars on SI, a really interesting tidbit from a source within coaching circles in the league talking about how Trent Baalke still being here in Jacksonville would affect the coaching search here. As much as you can, kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, I personally believe people will still take interviews, with the job. They did so in 2022, even though coaches back then privately expressed reservations about, Baalke remaining. And a lot of the reservations, people in the coaching community have with Baalke, a lot of it, comes down to, one, he has a history of clashing with coaches in San Francisco. Clearly, while him and Doug Peterson presented a public front that they were united, they certainly weren't always on the same page, especially when it came to, Jaguars offense coordinator Press Taylor. Obviously, Baalke was right in that sense, but coaches know when, a general manager is not in lockstep with them. And I think that's something in the coaching community that, a lot of times there's politics, in football that have nothing to do with actual team building. And to his own credit, that's a big reason why Trent Baalke has survived as long as he has. But coaches also see that as a potential red flag. So I do think that coaches will still take interviews with the Jaguars, but I think this took it from being hands down the best job in the league, one of the best jobs in recent years, to still a really good job, but one that, if a guy has options, he might now have, more things to consider. With that said, it's still, seen as a good job. I've spoken to people, throughout the NFL over the last few days to say, even with Baalke there, it's still a very desirable job. It should still draw a lot of interest. And I'd expect them to still be able to land, a quality candidate. But, it doesn't take away the fact that there are private reservations about why Khan is taking this path.
And Shad Khan has to realize that, right? I mean, I know in that press conference on Monday in the Zoom, he was asked, well, what if a candidate comes in here and says, well, I got issues with the GM, can we talk about this? And basically paraphrasing here, Shad goes, well, yeah, if they present a good idea, we might do that, which was very awkward with Trent Baalke listening to all that and just staring into the camera as Shad's saying that. But Shad's got to know guys are going to have trepidation about Baalke, correct?
I think he knows that that's out there, that the smoke's out there, and his reputation is what it is. Don't think he particularly cares. Like, I simply put, when Shad has an opinion on football matters, that's his opinion. His opinion of Trent Baalke overweighs everything else. If he gave in to the public pressure, then Trent Baalke would have been gone, several seasons ago. So I do think he's aware of it, but I also think he believes, and this is just my personal guess, this isn't something I've heard, but just covering Shad and knowing how he operates, I think he thinks that all the pros with the job would outweigh any reservations, anybody might have about Baalke, because there still are, plenty of pros. It's not a Super Bowl roster, but it's a relatively good roster, at least in comparison to a lot of the jobs that are out there now. You have a franchise quarterback, a number one receiver, 2-star defensive ends. You have your 2 tackles on the contract moving forward, and number one cornerback on the contract moving forward. There's, a lot to like about this job and this roster. They obviously have a ton of draft capital. They'll have some cap space they can work with. They have, state-of-the-art facilities, a new stadium. All these things I think Khan believes will, overshine and outweigh any issues that coaches might have with Baalke.
Final moments, John Shipley, Jaguars on SI. All right, let's talk about the candidates, and let's start, obviously, with Ben Johnson, because I think he is the one. Maybe Vrabel, but we really haven't talked a lot about Vrabel here in Jacksonville. That might be the other guy that would have this kind of clout, but I think Ben Johnson is the realistic one. I mean, John, if he comes in here and interviews and Khan really likes what he hears, but Ben Johnson tells Shad flat out, I have potential issues with this, I want to bring in my own guy. I mean, what would Shad's reaction to that be?
That's a good question because you would assume Trent Baalke would be in the room when he says that, right? I mean, Trent Baalke is going to be a very big part of the search here. It reminds me of when Todd Wash sat in on defensive coordinator interviews for, Gus Bradley. It's like, the guy's right there in the room. What exactly, how does that play out? It's a very odd dynamic to me. I don't think Shad is being disingenuous when he says he would listen to those ideas. But I also think if you're moving forward with Baalke in general, if you even believe that somebody will come into the interview wanting to say that, then what really is the point in, having Baalke involved in the search to begin with? So I believe Shad when he says that, but I also believe that ultimately my belief is that Baalke will be the general manager in 2025, one way or another.
So Ben Johnson is seemingly the guy everybody wants, although you look at that list of candidates that they put the interview requests in, and I think they've done a good job. All the guys are on there that people want. Liam Cohen, Joe Brady, Aaron Glenn. What was your thought on that list, and what is kind of your hierarchy for who you think the Jaguars may target?
Yeah, no, I think it's a very impressive list. I think if you compare it to the list of guys they talked to in 2022, and, some of this is hindsight. Nobody knew Matt Eberflus would be, kind of the bust that he was. But even back then at the time, I, was very vocal and I didn't really understand why Nate Hackett was seen as a top coaching candidate. And he was obviously a top candidate in that cycle. They also talked to Byron Leftwich. They talked to Bill O'Brien, who I was told back then just simply did not have a good interview whatsoever. And it was kind of raised a lot of eyebrows inside the building that he was even, brought in for an interview. Outside of that, obviously, I talked to Doug Peterson, Rich Bisaccia. Doug Peterson ended up being the best guy in that group, and I'm not even sure how much hindsight there is in that because there were questions about that group at the time. Now you look at it, I think obviously Ben Johnson as an offense coordinator with several years of production, under his belt. I think Liam Cohen is, another guy, really young coordinator, is very well liked and respected by players as a leader, has had a lot of success as a play caller, has done even better than Dave Canales did in Tampa. And Dave Canales, much like him, quickly got a job as a head coach. He's the big reason Will Levis even got drafted in the second round, success he had with him at Kentucky. Moving forward, the other guys, I think Aaron Glenn is a really, really good candidate. I know everybody wants an offensive coach, but, people I've talked to, knowing that Doug Peterson was likely out over the last several weeks, just talking to people in circles about likely candidates, Aaron Glenn was somebody who, people in NFL circles absolutely love. I think if you're looking for the next quote unquote Dan Campbell in this coaching cycle, I think it's Aaron Glenn. And then even past him, I think Joe Brady is obviously a guy you want to talk to, a top mind. Patrick Graham is one of the best defensive coordinators in football, very well respected, very well liked by players as a leader. Robert Saleh is somebody who I even think is, a better candidate than most people think because he was really dealt a bad hand in New York with the quarterback position from Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers. And then look at what happened to the Jets, after he left. They got significantly worse without him. So overall, I think it's a good group and a significantly better group than they had the last time around.
Yeah, people talk about Ben Johnson bringing Mark Brunell here with him. Well, what if Aaron Glenn brings Mark Brunell here with him? I think that would be an intriguing possibility as well. Obviously, same connection from Detroit. That's certainly something to at least consider and think about. All right, John, final question. Obviously, no way to really know this, but just to put it into perspective, I mean, this is going to be a process, right? In-person interviews, I don't even think can take place until January 20th. So we're looking minimum a couple of weeks. I mean, we're probably looking into January, beginning of February till we have a new head coach, correct?
Yeah, I would absolutely be ready to buckle up, especially if they want to hire Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn. Like, those are two guys on a legit Super Bowl contending team. And, almost all the guys that they want to talk to are guys, I believe Patrick Graham is the only one on that requested interview list who isn't going to be coaching in a playoff game in the next couple of weeks. So it's definitely going to be a process. The NFL's rules on these interviews has really elongated this process and kind of eliminated the need for teams to kind of race and make rash decisions. So I definitely think it will be a little bit before we know exactly who the next head coach will be.
Quickly, Tony Pauline brought up this morning that a dark horse that no one's talking about is Cliff Kingsbury, and he wasn't on that initial list. Do you think there's anything to that, or is that just a rumor right now?
you would think if they were interested in him, he would have been on that initial list, because if you wait to talk to guys who are on playoff teams, you run into the issue they ran into in 2022 when they wanted to talk to Kevin O'Connell, but the time to take initial interviews, by then was, already done, and they would have had to wait several more weeks. So I would imagine if they wanted to talk to Cliff, he would have been on that list. But, that doesn't mean anything. They still obviously have time to where they can request new guys. So I wouldn't exactly rule it out. It's just, it is odd to me that if they were interested, that he wouldn't be on that initial list of requests.
Your coverage has been fantastic. Let Jaguar fans know what you have coming up with Jaguars on SI in the coming days.
Yeah, no, we're going to do an update on the coaching search every day, things that are out there, things that we're hearing on our end. And same thing that we did in 2022, we're also going to go through the pros and cons of, each individual candidate and see who really, is the best option to be the next leader of the Jaguars on the sidelines.
John Shipley, Jaguars on SI. Follow him on social media. Go to the website. He has been terrific this week covering this Jaguar news. John, thank you as always, pal. We'll do it again soon.
Appreciate it, my friend.
XL.
Go Gators. Go Gators. Go Gators.
Your Gator Nation radio station. Go Gators.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Thinning or balding hair? Introducing Scalp Micropigmentation now at IHRS. SMP is a procedure for men and women, looks like your own growing hair, and corrects thinning areas. SMP is perfect for men and women who shave their head and want a full head of hair look. Call IHRS now, 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com today.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
You can attend the Police Athletic League's two-day boxing tournament at Julian Jackson Center, January 18th and 19th. Learn more at jaxpal.org.
The Wounded Warrior Project provides what medicine and technology can't: community, counseling, and a second chance. Find ways to help at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Your high school girls can join the Duval Tides girls rugby team. No tryouts and no experience necessary. Learn everything you need to know at Jack's HS Girls Rugby on Facebook and Instagram.
The Creeks Athletic Association in St. Johns County offers a variety of sports for children 5 to 18. Learn how to get your child involved at caale.org.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
Hey folks, Mike Detsy here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we got to bring my thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com.
Mia here for Dreamfinders Homes. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now is your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. You heard me right, a 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershome.com for more details.
How likely is it to live to be 100 years old? The answer coming up.
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
In the United States, about 5% of women live to be 100, but only 1.8% of men.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjax.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Hey, Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Guess what? We love rugs. We'll treat your fine Oriental rugs with tender, loving care they deserve. How about Gerard, the Zero Res rug cleaning manager, one of the few certified master rug cleaners in the state of Florida? If you want your rugs cleaned with tender, loving care, call Zero Res. Right now, have one rug washed and we'll wash a second rug free. That's right, buy one, the second one on me. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us. 1010XL, 92.5 FM. We'll take you up until 10 o'clock tonight. Coming up in less than 20 minutes. Sam Phelan, A to Z Sports.com, talking Jaguar coaching search, a little bit on former Gator Rand Carthon being shown the door as the general manager with the Tennessee Titans. That was interesting in Nashville yesterday. Boy, what organizations right now are the Titans and the Jaguars. They're just matching each other, holding each other's beer stride for stride. Two of the worst teams in the league, both in the top 5. Both kind of getting made fun of nationally for things their owners have done. We're kind of connected with Tennessee in that regard. So we'll talk to Sam about all that. And for you reality TV fans like myself, Sam Phelan was just on Survivor last month. In fact, he made the finale of Survivor season 47. So if that name sounds familiar, that's probably why. So we'll have Sam coming up with us here on Hacker After Dark in about 15 or 20 minutes. Interesting timing tomorrow down at the Miller Electric Center as Jaguar quarterback Trevor Lawrence, the new father, is scheduled to meet the media. And I say interesting timing because obviously we haven't heard, I don't think, anything from Trevor since Azeez Al-Shire did what he did. What was that, 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago now. So Trevor's going to meet the media, I guess kind of a postseason wrap-up, talk about fatherhood is the idea, but you know he's going to be asked about Doug Peterson being fired. You know he's going to be asked about Trent Baalke still being here. You know he's going to be asked about being involved in the coaching search and about Shad Khan saying there isn't going to be Aaron Rodgers 2.0 when Shad was asked about Trevor being involved in the search. I'm just not exactly sure if that's the best idea to have Trevor Lawrence talk tomorrow, but nevertheless he is. It'll be curious to see what he says, no question about it, because there's a lot of stuff going on around the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. Speaking of stuff, we talked about the list that was released yesterday, the 8 requests for interviews. Apparently now there has been a 9th earlier tonight, about 35 minutes ago. The Jaguars put on social media that Brian Flores, they're interested in talking to the former Miami Dolphin head coach and the current defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings. So now if you add Flores to the list, it's all the who's who, right? And this is what we talked about last night. Jaguar fans thought the sky was falling on Monday. They were fuming pissed about Trent Baalke still being here, and most of them still are, and I can't necessarily say that I blame them for that. But you look at the people that Jaguars and Shad Khan and presumably Trent Baalke are going to be talking to for this head coaching job. Ben Johnson is going to meet with the Jaguars on Saturday. Aaron Glen is scheduled to meet with the Jaguars, I believe, on Saturday. Now, they can't talk to a number of these guys because of NFL rules, but they have put in requests for Liam Cohen. They put in a request for, obviously, Brian Flores tonight, for Kellen Moore, Todd Monken. Again, you can't necessarily talk with those guys this week because they're all in playoff action this weekend. The NFL has rules about when they can and cannot talk. And we also know there are reports out there that they will interview Robert Saleh, the former Jets coach, former San Francisco defensive coordinator, obviously spent some time here in Jacksonville as well. That interview is scheduled for, I believe, next Tuesday. So the process is fully underway. It is fully started. And we'll ultimately see what happens. I guess it's good news that Ben Johnson accepted the interview. I know there were a lot of Jaguar fans and some members of the media that did not think Ben Johnson would even accept the interview because of Trent Baalke's presence. But as we, again, talked about last night, of the 6 head coaching openings in the NFL right now, 5 of the 6 have current general managers in place. So that is obviously against the norm of what we normally see when guys or organizations want to link a GM and a head coach at the hip, bring them in together. That's normally what we see. But that's not the case this year. Because outside of the Jets, every other head coaching opening, from the Patriots to the Raiders to the Bears to the Saints to the Jaguars, at least have either an interim or a full-time GM already on board. So if you're Ben Johnson and you want to bring in your own personnel guy, that's all fine and well, and maybe you'll be able to. But he's interviewing in Las Vegas, New England, Chicago, and Jacksonville. And again, all 4 of those teams have current GMs in place. So I'm not sure how much that puts the Jaguars behind the other teams who, again, all have their own current GMs involved in this as well. But we'll see. I mean, look. To me, as I told Baloo earlier, and I've been thinking about this, talking to people in Detroit, we're going to bring you some folks that cover the Lions coming up tomorrow or maybe Friday on Hacker After Dark, one of the two. They're actually more worried. The media in Detroit's more worried about New England than they are Chicago or Jacksonville. They think New England's the more enticing opportunity. Now, obviously, New England's been linked to Mike Vrabel, and Vrabel's going to interview there tomorrow. Keep in mind, the Patriots have already satisfied the rules for the Rooney Rule. Hypothetically, the New England Patriots could hire Mike Vrabel tomorrow if they wanted to, after he interviews. I doubt they'll do that, but they could. They've already met the rules of the Rooney Rule with interviewing Byron Leftwich and Pep Hamilton. Reportedly, but that did happen. But yeah, people in Detroit seem to be more worried about the Patriots gig. Drake May, top 5 pick, a lot of cap room in New England. Again, I'd be more worried about Jacksonville if it wasn't for Balky. Chicago, the more people you talk to nationally, like we had Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated on earlier this week. I've had a couple of other guys. At least the people that cover the league are not high on that Bears job. From ownership there to the division that they play in to veterans on the offense they're going to have to replace to questions about Caleb Williams. I think Bears fans, Bears media has a much more high opinion of that job than a lot of the guys I've at least talked to that cover the league nationally. Here in Jacksonville, the thought is this is a very good job, but of course, the elephant in the room now is Trent Baalke's presence here. But we'll see. Again, Ben Johnson has at least reportedly accepted the Jaguar interview, and that is scheduled to take place on Saturday. More Jaguar talk, more NFL talk, some AFC South talk coming up. Sam Phelan, A2ZSports.com. Reality TV fans, if that sounds familiar, yeah, that's the Sam that just recently competed on Survivor Season 47. Made it all the way to the finale of Survivor Season 47. He's back to his day job covering the NFL for A2ZSports.com, and he joins me next on a Wednesday evening here in the city of Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Hi, I'm Steve Spurrier.
Hi, this is Mike Patrick from ESPN.
This is Keenan McCarty. You're listening to 1010XL.
1010XL. 1010XL.
92.5 FM.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. You know, I'm starting a new series on the 1010XL social media platforms. It's called Hacker by the Numbers, and it's brought to you by Awaken 180. And when you talk about numbers, my number with Awaken 180 is 110. I've lost 110 pounds on that program since February of 2024. It is the best weight loss program I've ever been on, and the results speak for themselves. Life-changing, life-saving. It's January. It's a new year. If you've heard me and you've thought, you know, if Hacker can do it, I can do it. I can lose the weight. I need to contact Awaken 180. Well, let me tell you something. You are dead on accurate with that. Awaken 180 can change your life if it's time for you to drop the pounds. Go to awaken180weightloss.com, awaken180weightloss.com, and months from now, you could be their next success story.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
What's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T here, and it's a brand new year, which means a brand new you, especially in the bedroom. So if you're ready to make 2025 the year to level up where it counts, let me make it a little easier for you. Get yourself some Blue Chew. They've got a chewable tablet that has the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin. That means you're getting top-tier performance, my boy, without leaving the house. Blue Chew comes right to your front door in a discreet package, so your neighbors won't even know what's going on. But you will. No doctor's offices and no pharmacy run. Just licensed medical providers helping you find the right prescription. And guess what? They're made right here in the USA. Oh, and did I mention it's free? Yeah, you heard me. Your first month is free. So what you waiting for? Visit BlueChew.com and get a consultation. And start your year off with confidence to keep things interesting in that bedroom. Get that Blue Chew at BlueChew.com, baby. Let's make this year unforgettable.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait,
but
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners, so you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What'll I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir t-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Follow Florida Gators men's basketball on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Denny Thompson here for Tyson Sound and Security. Transform your home into the ultimate entertainment hub. Whether you're hosting the big game inside or out on the patio, Tyson's top-tier surround sound systems will make you feel like you're at the stadium. Enjoy crystal clear sound and breathtaking visuals, all seamlessly installed by Tyson's experts. Get ready for game day and every day after. Visit our new showroom on US 17, call 762-1000, or go to TysonSoundSecurity.com. Tyson, your home theater and security pros.
Bull riding, the perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Rev up your life with luxury at Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard. Right now, used car prices are 12% lower than their peak in April of 2022, making this the perfect time to drive home in a dream car. Specializing in luxury used vehicles, offering you elegance at prices that are finally coming back down to earth. See special listings in the newspaper every Saturday or online at VaughnMotorGroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at ProJaxRoofingFL.com.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
Weekend Wiggling.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And what a week it's been in the AFC South. I mean, obviously here in Jacksonville, Doug Peterson fired. Obviously, Trent Baalke remains as the Jaguar general manager. You take a look at our rivals up in Nashville. Rand Carthon, the former Florida Gator, is out as the Titans general manager, yet it appears Brian Callahan will remain as the head coach. There is a lot to get into with that. Sam Phelan, A2ZSports.com, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Sam, how we doing?
I'm doing good. I am, dealing with all the chaos that has been this week. It has been a wild week, like you said, in the AFC South. So, just trying to sift through the noise a little bit and, figure out what might be going on with both the Jags, the Titans, and the rest of the division.
And to stop people that are curious right now, Sam Phelan, that voice sounds familiar. Yeah, Survivor 47, Sam Phelan is with us here. He is an A to Z Sports NFL writer. But, Sam, I got to ask you, people that listen to me know the Survivor fan that I am. Congratulations on a great run this past season, making it all the way to the finale. That must have been some experience, man.
Oh, thank you so much, dude. It was, it was such a great experience. I, like you, huge Survivor fan, cannot say enough positive things about my time on Survivor. Fulfilling, challenging, very fun, and what a run, what a ride. So it's been a really cool stretch of a few months over the course of the NFL season, also getting to watch back the journey in Fiji.
Project Italy will live forever. That's all I'll say about that. That was absolutely phenomenal. All right, Sam, let's dive into the AFC South. Let's begin right here in Jacksonville, man. Your reaction to Doug Peterson losing his job. Let's begin there. Sam, why do you think it did not work out for Doug Peterson here in Jacksonville?
It really is hard to say because it felt like Doug Peterson, when he first got into Jacksonville, was like the perfect head coach for the Jags. I had been such a big fan of second chance head coaches, I suppose, like head coaches going into their second destination. And with the early success that Peterson had, especially with Trevor Lawrence, with building that offense up, with the obviously incredible 2022 season, which the comeback to win the AFC South title, winning a playoff game, it all started to look like it was on the upward trajectory. But it really feels like they've, pieced together sort of a roster that is thin. They've gotten a little bit soft culturally. They haven't had a ton of fight in them. They dealt with some injuries. And it, to me, from the outside looking in, has felt like it's just one thing led to another in Jacksonville that has sort of left Doug Peterson without a winning roster and without really a team that's wanting to fight for him.
Sam Phelan, A to Z Sports.com. And obviously the big story here was you thought Doug Peterson getting fired, Sam, until we find out that Trent Baalke was going to remain as the Jaguar general manager. As you can imagine, Jaguar fans did not receive that news very warmly. Were you as surprised as people here in Jacksonville were?
I think when you're looking at the surface of it, absolutely. If you know a little bit about Shad Khan and what he's kind of doing over there, maybe not so much. The relationship there is deep. And, as we see very often with these NFL owners, the relationships matter to them, emotions matter to them, impulsive decisions happen all the time. But I don't think this is something that Jaguar fans should be excited about. Like, this would be very frustrating. You can blame Baalke for, maybe more of the problems in Jacksonville than you even can Doug Peterson at this point. And it really creates a dangerous position for any organization to be going into a head coaching search when the head coach really is limited in the amount of control that they're going to have. You know that you're the odd man out when it comes to the GM and the owner, that you're sort of the third wheel in that group, and you're inheriting a quarterback. And, however these coaches might feel about Trevor Lawrence could affect the way that they view the Jaguars' job. But most head coaches, I think, want the control to be able to, pick their own quarterback, to, have a lot of say over the roster decisions that are being made. It doesn't feel like the Jaguars are providing that for their incoming candidates right now, which might affect whether or not some of the top candidates are interested in the job.
And we'll get there, Sam, in a moment. But my point on Baalke, and I'm curious yours, I mean, he's not without positives, right? You look at Trayvon Walker, obviously Brian Thomas Jr., Tyson Campbell, Anton Harrison, Tank Bigsby. I mean, you can rattle them off. Pretty good dozen or so guys that are going to be the foundation moving forward here that Baalke drafted. Yet for every positive you list, you could probably list a negative to offset that, and I think that's where a lot of the frustration is here.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like that is the case with a lot of these general managers, especially when you look at, a guy who doesn't have a huge amount of experience right now. It's 4 years into the job for Balke in Jacksonville. And like you said, there's a lot of hits and a lot of positives to go on his resume. But it is ultimately, as any fan, GM, head coach, owner will tell you, a results-based league, a results-driven league. And the results that Jaguars fans have seen has been a team that appeared to have a very positive upward trajectory that has now, gone downward and is kind of left undecided at where their real direction and future is. And so if you're a Jaguars fan right now, watching the season that this team just had, you can list all of the positives about Balke that you want, and all of them are fair and true. But it's not resulting in wins right now or direction right now. And Doug Peterson, we can't pretend like he's not a head coach who has won a Super Bowl. Like he is an experienced head coach who can win if given the correct roster. And so it kind of leaves for a lot of indecision, I think, for an ownership group, for a fan base. But I don't know. To me, the vibes are just far more negative because wins, and that's the justification they're making here in Tennessee right now is Rand Carthon, as the Titans part ways with him. Titans fans feel the same way. You can point to a lot of what Rand Carthon has done and say, this was great and this was good and this looks promising. And yet they've got 9 wins over the last 2 seasons and one of the league's worst teams.
That's a good point. Of course, Rand Carthon, the former Florida Gator, out as the GM with the Titans. We'll get there in just one moment. Sam Phelan, A2ZSports.com, a couple of more for Sam. And when you look here in Jacksonville, final Jaguar thought, Sam. All right, Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, Aaron Glen. We know all the names, right? Joe Brady. And Jaguar fans are worried that Trent Baalke's presence will affect who they can hire, and it very, very well may. But my point all week has been, you look at the 6 head coaching openings now that the Raiders fired Antonio Pierce. Of the 6, 5 of them have current GMs in place. So that's weird, right? You don't normally see that. So if I'm Ben Johnson, he's going to have to make a decision. Can he work with any of these GMs, or is he simply going to go back to Detroit for another year?
Yeah, I think the thing that, does work in the Jaguars' favor if you're looking at somebody like Ben Johnson is what you said, the fact that so many of the job openings right now have sitting general managers. And I think the question that you ask if you're a coaching candidate is this a lame duck general manager, or is this a general manager who I see being around for the long haul? The way that NFL franchises kind of do themselves in some of these scenarios is having a general manager who's already on the hot seat, who's already probably 1 year away from being fired, but the owner takes a half measure, does not go all the way as to cleaning house. And therefore you bring in a head coach who's not all that enthused about the opportunity because there is a very real possibility that it's a one and done situation if things don't immediately turn around. With the relationship between Shad Khan and Baalke, I do feel like maybe there is a path where there's more of a future for Trent Baalke in Jacksonville than some of these other sitting general managers with head coach openings. And so if Ben Johnson is looking and assessing his options and figuring out which job is best for him, there is a quarterback that, if he likes Trevor Lawrence, I would say Trevor Lawrence is a pretty similar skill set, all things considered, to Jared Goff. He could find Trevor Lawrence attractive, find the stability of Shad Khan backing Trent Baalke as something that's attractive as well, and an opportunity for him to grow with that front office instead of being oppositions with the general manager.
Final moment, Sam Phelan, A2ZSports.com. Sam, it'll be curious what happens here in Jacksonville. As you said, your work with A2Z Sports, you're based in Nashville. Rand Carthon, I guess, surprisingly shown the door. I got a lot of buddies in the Nashville area that are in the sports media, and the vibe I got was there was some surprise that Tennessee decided to fire Rand Carthon, yet apparently keep Brian Callahan.
Yeah, surprise is, I guess, relative. Rand Carthon's seat has been hot for a little bit now. there's been some rumblings behind the scenes about a lot of the behind the scenes of the Titans front office. I don't think people in Nashville and people within the organization viewed Ran Carthon as a hard worker. People thought he was a little bit lazy. People did not think he was a real grinder when it came to scouting or getting on the road. There was a lot of questions within the organization even about what the real power structure of the team was. You've got Chad Brinker, who was brought in from the Green Bay Packers, and he was originally the assistant general manager, and then they kind of reshuffled things and gave Ran Carthon a vice president title while making Brinker the president of football operations. And that left people wondering, well, who's calling the shots here, your GM or your president of football operations? And the vibe that we've sort of seen and heard over the last 48 hours is that it's Brinker who was calling the shots and Brinker who will continue to call the shots. Ran Carthon, get out of the way. That is the message from Titans ownership. And so you could be surprised, but also if we look at the habits of Amy Adams-Strunk, this is now what she has done 3 years running with the Titans. When she fired general manager John Robinson back in 2022, it was sort of a declaration that John was the problem and she was going to go all in backing Mike Vrabel as the team's future. Then 1 year later, after kind of announcing to the public that the roster was not good enough, Mike Vrabel leads the Titans to a 6-11 season, his first losing season as the team's head coach, and bang, he's gone just like that. A quick emotional reaction from ownership. Now, 1 year later, after choosing Carthon over Vrabel, we are seeing Amy Adams-Strunk doing the exact same thing with backing a new decision maker in the front office. So it's sort of toxic and dysfunctional and all of the bad things that you don't want to be existing in your organization. But here we are, not all that surprised, but I guess disheartened.
Yeah, it's wild. Arch rivals, Tennessee and Jacksonville, both making head-scratching decisions here early in the offseason, both coming off horrific 2024 campaigns, and both look like they're on the verge of yet another rebuild. Sam, final question. I got to ask you, the NFL playoffs are coming up this week. We haven't talked a ton about them, as you can imagine, with all the Jaguar news, but most intriguing game to you on Wild Card Weekend?
That's great. You know what? I'm going to have to go with Tampa Bay. I love the idea of Baker Mayfield in the playoffs. I think that we will probably get a nice night game. Jaden Daniels against Baker Mayfield, two pretty explosive offenses. Both teams have had defensive issues at different times in the year. I think that's the one I'm going to be the most seeded for because I think both of those teams, Washington and Tampa Bay, could make some noise in the NFC with a win in Wild Card Weekend.
And there'll be some curious Jaguar fans watching that one. Again, Liam Cohen has piqued a lot of interest here in Jacksonville. That is the offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sam Phelan, you saw him on Survivor this past season. You read his terrific work, A2ZSports.com, covering the NFL. Sam, really enjoyed the conversation, man. Thank you as always.
Of course, appreciate it.
I lied a big secret. People are smart. They can handle it.
Because you did not use the magic word.
What is the magic word?
1010XL, where sports magic happens.
Please.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Instead of wasting money on resolutions you won't keep, why not invest in something that lasts? Like fixing that dripping faucet, clearing that clogged drain, or finally tuning up your AC. Call Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. We'll help you keep your home in shape this year. It's the one resolution you won't regret breaking. Call 904-862-6769 to schedule service today. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
Hey folks, Mike Detsy here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
Ammon, you're always talking about how clean air is healthy air. I've had this cold for weeks. Can cleaning my air ducts actually help?
Well, Dad, I'm not a doctor, and let's be honest, you probably caught that cold from one of your grandkids. But I can tell you this, the cleaner your air, the better you'll feel.
Makes sense, but what do air ducts have to do with it?
Your ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're full of dust, allergens, and who knows what else, all that junk gets blown into the air you breathe, especially now that the heat's running. And the EPA says improving indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So you're telling me my vents are working harder than my immune system?
Exactly. That's why Zero Res is here. We're NADCA certified, and our truck mount system is the most powerful in the industry. Right now, we're even offering $100 off your total for January.
All right, sign me up. If it makes me feel better and keeps your mom off my back, I'm all in.
Good call, Dad.
Zero Res.
Spelled border backwards.
It's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass. He told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm Mac with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but incredibly functional for me and Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com and take advantage of their 40% off New Year savings this month only, including 18-month special financing. Closets by Design.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
What is the most populated city in the world? The answer next.
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
With a population of an astounding 37.7 million people, Tokyo, Japan is the most populated city in the world.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Did you have people over for the holidays? Kids everywhere, dirt everywhere, all over the carpets, the rugs, the sofas, and chairs? Did the kitchen tile take a beating? Sounds like it's time to call my guys over at Zero Res. The Zero Res techs will get the house looking great again. Folks, if you need help cleaning up after the holiday, give Zero Res a call. Right now, 25% off carpet cleaning, 25% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res, spell it forwards. Zero Res, spell it backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Obviously, a lot more on the Jaguars, on the head coaching search, and oh, by the way, we have NFL playoff action in less than 72 hours. We haven't spent a lot of time on the 6 playoff games this weekend. Obviously, more pressing issues here with our football team, but as the week goes into Thursday and Friday, I do want to spend some time on them. They look like decent games, right? And I'll tell you this, too. I've talked to a couple of guys this week that give Denver much more of a chance against Buffalo than I would have thought. We know Baltimore, Pittsburgh, boy, that'll be a bloodbath. That'll be just a battle, man. You got Washington, Tampa Bay. I think that has the potential to be a very good one. L.A. and Houston, I don't really know. I'll probably be pulling for the Chargers in that game. Green Bay, Philadelphia appears to be a pretty good one as well. We'll see what the injury situation looks like for both. And then Monday night, scheduled to be in Los Angeles, right, for the Vikings and the Rams, scheduled to be in L.A. with the just horrific fires going on. I'm watching some of that today. My gosh, man. That is just, that is not good right now. The NFL obviously monitoring it. They still plan to play the game in L.A. The contingency was announced earlier today that if need be, they can move the game to Glendale, Arizona. But that's the Monday night game between the Vikings and the L.A. Rams. And you look on the calendar, so much NFL talk, so much Jaguar talk, head coaching carousel. The college football playoff resumes in less than 24 hours. Tomorrow night, Notre Dame and Penn State. Friday night, Texas and Ohio State in the national semifinals. With that, my buddy Brent Beard will join us in less than 10 minutes. You see him locally on First Coast News, and you get him weekly on Hacker After Dark. We'll talk about both of those games. We'll also talk about the SEC. What exactly happened this year to Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, LSU, again, Texas, who was in the Big 12 a year ago, is the last SEC team standing. The Florida Gators got some good news yesterday. Tyreek Sapp announced he's coming back for his senior year. Tyreek Sapp joins Caleb Banks, Austin Barber, and Jake Slaughter as guys that could have gone to the NFL. Tyreek Sapp absolutely would have been drafted, but says, thanks, but no thanks. I'm going back to Gainesville. So you get Banks and Sapp back on the D-line. You get Barber and Slaughter back on the O-line. That's a win for the Gators. Speaking of a win for the Gators, they absolutely destroyed the number 1 team in the country last night in basketball. There at the O'Connell Center, Florida over Tennessee, 73-43. The Gators' first win at home over an AP number 1 ranked team ever. They were 0-5 before last night. A lot of confidence for Florida, now 14-1 on the year. Doesn't get easier, though. They got to go to Fayetteville on Saturday and take on John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks, a game that you will hear right here on 1010XL. We'll talk a little basketball, but primarily college football, including the playoff games, which restart tomorrow in the national semifinals. My buddy Brent Beard, you see him locally on First Coast News. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. He joins me next on a Wednesday evening in the city of Jacksonville with Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. It's 1010XL, and it's 92.5 FM.
Play-by-play just makes everyday life better.
I did not see this one coming.
Get the most play-by-play on 1010XL, Jacksonville's play-by-play sports radio.
What's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T here, and it's a brand new year, which means a brand new you, especially in the bedroom. So if you're ready to make 2025 the year to level up where it counts, let me make it a little easier for you. Get yourself some Blue Chew. They've got a chewable tablet that has the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin. That means you're getting top-tier performance, my boy, without leaving the house. Blue Chew comes right to your front door in a discreet package, so your neighbors won't even know what's going on. But you will. No doctor's offices and no pharmacy run. Just licensed medical providers helping you find the right prescription. And guess what? They're made right here in the USA. Oh, and did I mention it's free? Yeah, you heard me. Your first month is free. So what you waiting for? Visit BlueChew.com and get a consultation. And start your year off with confidence to keep things interesting in that bedroom. Get that Blue Chew at BlueChew.com, baby. Let's make this year unforgettable.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
David Lane here, and once again, I'm happy to share news of my success with back and knee surgeries at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Whatever it is that's bothering you, take it from me. Simply set an appointment today at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and let them help you get back to normal life. I'm certainly glad I did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
She's very comfortable talking sports and hanging out with the boys.
Mia O'Brien here, still providing the best multimedia sports coverage in Northeast Florida on 1010XL radio, video, and social channels.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Kenny Thompson here for Tyson Sound and Security. Transform your home into the ultimate entertainment hub. Whether you're hosting the big game inside or out on the patio, Tyson's top-tier surround sound systems will make you feel like you're at the stadium. Enjoy crystal clear sound and breathtaking visuals, all seamlessly installed by Tyson's experts. Get ready for game day and every day after. Visit our new showroom on US 17, call 762-1000, or go to TysonSoundSecurity.com. Tyson, your home theater and security pros.
Bull riding, the perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Rev up your life with luxury at Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard. Right now, used car prices are 12% lower than their peak in April of 2022, making this the perfect time to drive home in a dream car. Specializing in luxury used vehicles, offering you elegance at prices that are finally coming back down to earth. See special listings in the newspaper every Saturday or online at VaughnMotorGroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at ProjaxRoofingFL.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, with all the talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars and everything going on from the head coach to the GM, you kind of forget that we're on the doorstep of the semifinals. of the college football playoff. Two really good games on paper, right? You got Penn State taking on Notre Dame. You got Ohio State and Texas in the Final Four remaining for the CFP. Let's talk about all of it with my buddy Brent Beard. You get him locally on First Coast News, and you get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Mr. Beard, hope you had a great New Year, my friend. How are you?
Well, I'm doing fine. I just wanted to give you something real quick for fun, but yet it will tell you also that college football never ends. This is from our buddy Phil Steele. Phil writes, I have started on the 2025 magazine in late November, and after some team seasons were complete, I write it in a 3 write-through process. We don't know what that is, but that's okay. And I'm in the first write-through period. Get this, only 150 days until the magazine goes to press.
And you'll be counting down every one of them. I know. It never ends. There's no doubt about that. Brent, we're in the midst of the playoff, and I want to ask you about the Final Four, but I want to take a look back. You know, as you and I both know very well, the SEC, it just means more, right? I guess with the exception of this football season, Alabama did not play well in the bowl game. South Carolina did not play well in the bowl game. Obviously, Georgia loses in the quarterfinal. The only SEC team that's left in the Final Four was in the Big 12 a few months ago. A down year for the SEC, right? Why do you think that is?
I think part of it is because, and Kirby Smart said this the whole year, he was asked what is the problem, and his mantra was, we don't have enough depth. And what he said is correct, because the other teams in the league have lost players to the transfer portal and NIL. So basically, I think a lot of the guys that they were depending on, and they weren't starters, but they were valuable reserves that they could come in and play a half a dozen to a dozen plays and take some pressure off. Well, unfortunately, those guys aren't there anymore, or a lot less of them are there. So I think that's a lot of it. But frankly, is the lack of depth, and I don't think it's going to last long. I think they will rejuvenate themselves and be back soon. But I don't know if we all thought Texas would be there. I think we all thought Georgia might be there and Alabama might be there. So it is a unusual situation. And now this doesn't mean the Big Ten is a great conference, but what it does mean is give them credit for having 2 teams in, and especially one team in Penn State that at the beginning of the year, we never thought would win big games, but the way this playoff is structured, that if you get a good draw, and they did, right, you can go a while. So I think the lack of depth has really hurt the league.
You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark, and you look at the college football playoff. I mean, you and I talked about this. The fact that all 4 teams that received byes lost is absolutely wild. The fact that you don't have one conference champion left in the Final Four is absolutely wild. And yet the talk is, Brent, that they may not change very much, at least next year in the college football playoff, despite this.
Well, I do hope that after the first round that they will reseed the teams. I think that would be very important to be able to do. If they had done that, Arizona State certainly, and some of these other teams would not have been able to get a bye. Frankly, Boise State is in there too. But no, you're right. Heather Dinich of ESPN said as much. that she was not sure they would do a lot. Now, I do think in 2026 they will expand it, and you'll have a bit of a different format than you do today. But to your point, and here's another thing they may change. Hank, it's too long between games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, Georgia didn't play for a month, basically, after the SEC championship game. And it's interesting that you don't have anything like that in the NFL. You've got too many teams, too many games. But and I'm sure that's caught your eye too. Some of these teams are rusty, and it's cost them dearly.
Thursday night it begins with the Final Four, Penn State and Notre Dame. I don't know how many people thought that Notre Dame would get past Georgia. They did. That's a heck of a win for Marcus Freeman and the Irish. James Franklin, as you said, in Penn State. They got through SMU and Boise. They've had a relatively easy time of it. That obviously will change with Notre Dame. Who do you like between the Nittany Lions and the Fighting Irish?
I would still have to see it to believe it for Penn State to win and be able to get to the championship game. But, I mean, this is a really good opportunity for James Franklin to change the narrative. But this Notre Dame team, if you can do what they did against Georgia, which is basically beat Georgia at their own game, heck, they beat Georgia by playing them in a phone booth, and they were happy to be able to do that. And now they've got one of the better defensive teams anywhere, allowing 13 points a game. But the guy that I really give credit to, and I've done this on television too, is Al Golden, the defensive coordinator. And after he left Miami, I'm not saying he went into purgatory, but he kind of went through a quieter period, obviously, in his career. But he's going to Notre Dame and turned it up several notches. And Mike Denbrock, their offense coordinator, was at LSU. And they're not great offensively, but when you can do what they can defensively and you can run the ball, you're going to win some games, aren't you?
Oh, you are. And give Notre Dame credit. I mean, you talk about how long the college football season is, Brent. I remember Northern Illinois going into South Bend and knocking them off, and you're thinking, what on earth? And that was the last game that they lost. And now here we are in the Final Four. I mean, what a turnaround for the Irish.
Well, and see, the other thing that happened is they lost Riley Mills, maybe their best defensive player, season-ending injury against Indiana, but they still have basically dominated. And people may have forgotten this. It's been 31 years since Notre Dame won a major bowl game back in '93.
Wow.
And I mean, they really have done nothing for as ballyhooed a team and a tradition as they've had. So for Notre Dame, this is really a tremendous comeback for them.
You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, the other semifinal, boy, how good is this going to be? Ohio State and Texas. Let's first talk about the Buckeyes. I'm old enough to remember, Brent, Michigan planting the flag at Ohio Stadium after beating Ohio State, and there was all the talk about Ryan Day's job security and how are the Buckeyes going to respond. And all they've done is absolutely destroy Tennessee and Oregon in back-to-back games. Why has Ohio State been able to do this?
Well, they decided after the Michigan game, which is a wake-up call for them. See, they tried to play Michigan in a line of scrimmage game and run the ball and ignore their wide receivers. Well, it's kind of hard to ignore Jeremiah Smith, isn't it, Hack, who may be the best receiver in the nation. But Smith has just been an incredible force for them and shows in every game. So what's happened is they have their offense has exploded. Their defense had 8 sacks against Oregon. They're number 5 in the nation in rush defense, allowing 92 yards per game. and in 2 playoff games, only allowing 129 yards rushing, minus 23 to Oregon, which is amazing. And by the way, in another real fun note, Ohio State and Texas open the season next year.
Wow.
In Columbus, Hack. So this will be a revenge game for one of these teams come next August 30th.
Well, and as far as Texas goes, as we mentioned, Brent, they're the last SEC team standing, and they haven't looked dominant by any stretch of the imagination against Clemson in the first round. And look, it was 4th in their season against Arizona State. I mean, 4th and 13. Their season was on the line. Give Quinn Ewers credit. He made a great play. They ultimately beat Arizona State in double overtime to win the game. But Texas is going to have to play considerably better with the way Ohio State looks.
Yeah, they really are. And the problem they've made is they've had double-digit leads in the fourth quarter in the first 2 playoff games and nearly lost the games. They've just kind of had a dip for what it's worth. They really, I thought, would get Arch Manning in the game last week, but they did not. Quinn Ewers played the whole game, and in overtime, and in the regulation, he made a couple of touchdown passes that were just really absolutely unbelievable. Ewers at this point has 66 touchdowns, 23 interceptions in his career. Now if they can run the ball, they're so much better. Quinn Wisner is a guy that can take a lot of pressure off Quinn Ewers, and Colin Simmons, their defensive end, is a real force of nature himself. Texas is number 3 nationally in total defense, which is kind of surprising, I think, to some people. But, heck, the reality is Ohio State right now is firing on all cylinders, and it's really easy at this point to look at them. I don't mean Texas can't win, because I think they could and carry the SEC banner with them also. But right now, heck, it's hard not to pick Ohio State, isn't it?
Oh, I think it's very hard. In fact, I'm going to pick Ohio State, and I'm going to pick Notre Dame. I think it's going to be the Irish and the Buckeyes that are going to be playing for the national championship. Who are your 2 winners? Who do you think comes out on top in the Final Four?
The same 2. Yeah, I looked at that the way that you did. I still just don't have confidence in James Franklin to win a semifinal game. And again, Ohio State just has probably too many weapons, and they're really peaking at the right time. But again, we need to give Sarkisian a lot of credit this year. They had a lot of pressure on them first year in the league. They didn't win the league, but they've gone further in the playoff than anybody. So kudos to them, but I'm with you with the same 2.
Brent, final question. We got about 2 minutes to go, and it's something we'll talk about as we get into the offseason a little bit. Interesting, and this is the first time, boy, in a long time, maybe I don't know off the top of my head, not one coaching change in the Southeastern Conference, right? Yeah. Now, we've had a lot in recent memory, and maybe that's why, people are going to be given more time. But whether it was Sam Pittman surviving in Fayetteville or Billy Napier surviving in Gainesville, the fact that all 16 coaches are going to be coming back to their schools, boy, you don't see that an awful lot.
Very unusual, and I would throw Hugh Freeze in there, too, at Auburn. I've heard Hugh has told some people that if he doesn't win 8 games this year, that he probably won't be back. So that is a really good point. And heck, if I may, just some quick notes. Again, I'm chuckling at all the people who went crazy over Jalen Rashada. Commits to Miami, flips to Florida, decommits from Florida, goes to Arizona State, transfers to Georgia. Well, he's back in the portal, which I think tells you a whole lot about him and what is going on. And I wanted to mention this, too. Folks have probably beginning to hear about this by now. Tyreek Sapp, Florida's leader in sacks, is coming back. Had 7 sacks, tackles for loss. 13, 47 tackles. Hank, that is a huge piece of that Gator defense, is it not?
Well, and the bottom line for the Gator offseason, if I were to tell Gator fans a month ago that there will be some people leaving, right? Shamar James goes to the draft, Jack Pyburn to the portal. But if I were to tell you that Caleb Banks, Tyreek Sapp, Jake Slaughter, and Austin Barber are all returning to Florida, and, oh, by the way, you're going to add a top 10 recruiting class, including 2 5-star receivers in Vernell Brown and Dallas Wilson, Gator fans would have said, where do I sign? So it's been a good offseason for Billy Napier.
Well, let me also throw in here, too, Florida State has signed Squirrel White from Tennessee. He's a really good slot receiver when he's healthy, and the problem is he just really hasn't been healthy for any real length of time. So that's your reality for that. And, heck, as we go out here, kudos to the SEC in basketball. We'll get into some of that as we go along. But when would we have said, Hack, that SEC hoops would be a little bit more applauded than SEC football at this time in our life?
SEC basketball is the best conference in America, and I'm not sure it's close, Brent.
It's not. It really isn't, no.
It's been a great start to the year, no question about it. It's always great for us when we get to catch up with our buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News, and you get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, appreciate it, my friend. Enjoy the semifinals, and you and I will begin previewing the national championship game next week. Thank you, pal.
Can't wait, bud. Take care.
Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
And thank you to my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark, as we are less than 24 hours away from the semifinals of the college football playoff. I mean, I know we've been so wire to wire here with the Jaguars, and that'll continue for the most part, but Penn State, Notre Dame in the first national college football semifinal. Tomorrow night, you have Texas and Ohio State on Friday night. And, of course, the winners then will play on January the 20th, I believe, in the college football national championship game. As I told Brent, give me Notre Dame and Ohio State. I think Notre Dame gets it done tomorrow night over Penn State. I think Ohio State will knock out Texas, so I will take the Irish and the Buckeyes to play for the national championship on January 20th. So we certainly spent a lot of time talking college football tonight, but as you can imagine, an overwhelming majority of the time was dedicated to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The coaching search well underway. Interviews for the Jaguars will begin as early as tomorrow. I know the reported ones are Aaron Glen, the defensive coordinator in Detroit, is set to meet with the Jaguars virtually on Saturday. I know former Jets head coach Robert Saleh, it was reported, will meet with the Jaguars next Tuesday. The Jaguars have also requested permission to talk with Ben Johnson of Detroit. A lot of the other requests cannot be granted yet because a lot of the guys are playing on Wild Card Weekend, right? Liam Cohen in Tampa, Kellen Moore in Philadelphia, Todd Monken in Baltimore, all were on that initial request list, but all of those guys are coaching this weekend, so I don't believe they can actually virtually interview until after Wild Card Weekend. But it'll be a process. Again, it's going to be a couple of weeks at least. I would imagine late January or even early February is how long we'll have to wait until we have a new head coach here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, that will just about do it. It has been a very, very busy Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, my buddy Brent Beard, you see him locally on First Coast News, and you get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Thank you to Sam Phelan, A to Z Sports.com. Always enjoy talking NFL with Sam. And for you Survivor fans, yeah, that was Sam. the guy that was just on Survivor, actually made it all the way to the finale of Survivor Season 47. Really enjoyed talking not only about the Jags coaching search with Sam, about former Gator Rand Carthon's time being over in Nashville with the Titans, but we did throw in a little outwit, outplay, outlast from his time in Survivor, and we certainly appreciate Sam taking time out for us this evening. And John Shipley, Jaguars on SI. I think John has done an absolutely terrific job covering this Jaguar story. He's had a lot of really interesting nuggets. I recommend you follow him on social media. You read his terrific work. Jaguars on SI. It's a busy time for all of us. I want to thank John Shipley for taking time out for us tonight. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Thursday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Wednesday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Thursday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.